When we founded Optilink, Don Green and I and a number of other founders, we had a stock plan. We were very harried. Everybody was very harried. It's always true that startups are very harried. And we gave out stock, sometimes injudiciously, sometimes we were pressed for time, sometimes we needed a person very badly. And so, in reality, the stock plan was a mess. We didn't really find that out until we were acquired. Then suddenly the stock had value. Everybody was complaining. I got too much. You didn't mark down the stock that you said you gave me. So, of course, when I started a second company, EO Networks, in 1993, I recognized all these problems. But you wouldn't recognize them unless you had already done a startup and unless it had been successful. So there's really not a lot of continuity between founders and founders unless there's been a founder who has done a previous successful startup and realizes that things can be very tricky unless you take a lot of care in the very beginning. Now, you might expect that investors would be the link, that investors would warn founders, look, you know, you're making a mess out of the stock plan, you're doing things wrong. Why doesn't this happen? It doesn't happen because the investors are worried about their stock, not the employee stock. When they get their stock, they don't really care anymore. When I started EO Networks in 1993, I learned from the lessons of Optilink. I wanted to, first of all, be much fairer to the employees, and I also wanted to make sure that I kept more accurate records during the period that the company was ongoing, so I wouldn't have a mess when the company went public at the end. There was another problem, however, and that was that I was brought on when there was already a founder group in existence. The founder group had awarded themselves a lot of stock, and the investors, who were Seven Rosen, who were Communications Ventures, who were Accel Partners, did not agree with the kind of stock that the founders had awarded themselves. They felt that a lot of those founders would not be worth that kind of stock as the company was ongoing. So I said to them, you know, why don't we do this? Why don't we give the founders half of the stock that they have awarded themselves? The other half we'll have them earn by service, by performance to the company over the period of the stock plan. And the investors liked that. They liked that a lot. And I thought to myself, you know, we'll do that for the employees too. We'll give them half of the stock that they expect to get right at the very beginning, and we'll have them earn the second half of their stock by performance over the period of the stock plan. One of the things that I wanted to do when I did EO Networks was do a plan up front as to how much stock I would issue over how much time to what sort of people. The investors liked that too. Frank Caulfield of Kleiner Perkins was always complaining to me about the employee group always wanting more stock. The founders always wanting more stock. They needed more stock for new employees at a higher level. So both the employers and the investors were happy with having a stock plan that covered the full period of the plan. And it turned out that that was great for the employees too. In fact, I'll tell you a story. I had a vice president of sales candidate, and he came in and he clearly was going to negotiate for the last shred of stock that he could get. And I said to him, you know, we're giving out stock not by charm, not by previous records. We're giving out stock in accordance with the position that you hold. He said, do you mean that I'm going to get as much stock as every other vice president? I said, that's exactly right. And he said, well, you know, in that case, I don't see any point in negotiating. I accept your offer. So the employees find it fair, and it reduces the amount of negotiation that you have to do because everything is pre-planned, everything is pre-structured. Now, the idea that employees get half of their stock up front and they earn the rest turns out, again, to be a great incentive. because the kind of employees that you want in a startup are the kind of people who think they can make a big difference. And when you say to them, you can double your stock if you're a top quality employee and have great results, you could triple your stock or even more, they all think, yeah, I can do that. That's how I'll get a lot of stock, because I'm an exceptional performer. In 1999, I retired from EO Networks. And so the stock plan methodology that I had, I just let go. I didn't want to do anything more with that. But I did work with Mickey Saxon, who I had known for a long time. Mickey is a consultant in the area of company culture, in the area of pay and compensation. And it turned out that there was a lot of interest in my ideas. And the ideas of setting up an equitable stock plan, a fair stock plan, a stock plan that's pre-planned. And so she approached me, I don't know, 2 or 3 years after I had retired, and she said, you know, there is a very strong interest in this. There are a lot of clients some of you whom you've already talked to. Maybe we should turn this into a program and call it Option Sanity. And I thought, you know, that's a great idea. And so not only did I invest in Mickey and Option Sanity, but I joined her board. And I think that she has embodied in the program that she's created, Option Sanity, not only the concepts that I advocated during my business career, but a number of new features as well. The Option Sanity program produces a wide range of reports. That's something that I had to do by hand when I was running companies. I can't tell you how much time it took me at every board meeting, and we had a board meeting every month, to figure out who we had hired, how much stock we had promised them, how much stock was left to be awarded, any changes that we were making, such as promotions to existing employees. So the existence of reports saves a great deal of time for the CEO. In addition, there are consistency checks. At our first company, Optilink, we made a ton of errors. Consistency checks would have kept us from making a lot of those errors. And then, of course, there's an audit trail. What that means simply, guys, is it won't let you backdate your stock.